South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree number 06/2025. Reconstitution and appointment of members of the Board of Directors of the Civil Aviation Authority. Pursuant to the provision of Section 13(1) of South Sudan Civil Aviation Act 2012, amended Act 2024, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby reconstitute the members of the Board of Directors of the Civil Aviation Authority, comprising of members as hereunder. Mr. Addis Ababa Otwo, position Chairperson. 2, Under Secretary in the Ministry of Transport, positioned member. 3, Head of Legal Team, Civil Aviation Authority, member. 4, SSPDF Air Force Commander, member. 5, Representative of ISB, NS, member. 6, Maria Lotua, Business Management, member. 7, Mr. John Wujo Elinana, DG, CEO of SSCAA, Secretary. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President, Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree number 10, 2025. Relief of Director General. Pursuant to the provision of Article 106(2)(a) of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, read together with Section 12(2) of the Petroleum Act 2012, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby relieve Engineer Corn Jonah Court from his position as Director General of Petroleum Exploration and Production Authority in the Ministry of Petroleum. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President, Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree number 11, 2025. Appointment of Director General. Pursuant to the provision of Article 106(a)(2)(a) of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, read together with Section 12(2) of the Petroleum Act 2012, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby appointing Engineer Lual Chol Dak as the Director General of Petroleum Exploration and Production Authority in the Ministry of Petroleum. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President, Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree number 12, 2025. Relief of Director General, in bracket CEO. Pursuant to the provision of Section 23 of the South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority Act 2011, amended Act 2024, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby relieve Captain David Sobek Dada from his position as Director General and CEO of South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President, Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree number 13, 2025. Appointment of Director General, in bracket CEO of the South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority. Pursuant to the provision of Section 21 of South Sudan Civil Aviation Act 2011, Act 2024, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby appointing Mr. John Wujo Elinana as the Director General and CEO of South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority, issued under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President, Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree Number 14, 2025, relief of an Undersecretary, pursuant to the provision of Article 101E of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, read together with Section 13 of the Civil Service Act 2011, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby relieve Honorable Dr. Gabriel Isaac Awow from his position as the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree Number 15, 2025, appointment of an Undersecretary. Pursuant to the provision of Article 101E of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, read together with Section 13 of the Civil Service Act 2011, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby appointing Honorable Mary James Ajith Awol as Undersecretary in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree Number 16, 2025, relief of Chief of Administrator of Greater Pibor Administrative Area. Pursuant to the provision of Article 162.2, read together with Article 162.1a of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby relieve Honorable Gola Boyoy Gola from his position as the Chief Administrator of Greater Pibor Administrative Area. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree Number 17, 2025, appointment of Chief Administrator of Greater Pibor Administrative Area. Pursuant to the provision of Article 162.2, read together with Article 162.1a of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby appointing Honorable Peter Gazolo Mazi as a chairperson, as a Chief Administrator, of Greater Pibor Administrative Area. Issue under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree Number 18, 2025, relief of an Undersecretary. Pursuant to the provision of Article 101E of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, and read together with Section 13 of the Civil Service Act 2011, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby relieve Honorable Amer Madol Majok from her position as the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Culture, Museum and National Heritage. Signed under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Juba. Republican Decree number 19, 2025. Appointment of the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Culture, Museums and National Heritage. Pursuant to the provision of Article 101E of the Transitional Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan 2011, as amended, read together with Section 13 of the Civil Service Act 2011, I, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, do hereby appointing Honorable Majok Malok as the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Culture, Museums and National Heritage, signed under my hand and seal of the Republic of South Sudan in Juba, this 15th day of the month of January in the year 2025. Signed, Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, Juba. These were the Republican decrees, and now to continue with the rest of our news bulletin. We begin our broadcast tonight at the State House, where South Sudan and Algeria are working closely towards deepening collaboration in education, medical infrastructure, and food security, and mutual benefit of the citizens of the both nations. This follows a delivery of written letter from Algerian President Abdulaziz and to the President Salva Kiir Mayardit, demonstrating Algeria's unwavering dedication to strengthening bilateral cooperation between Juba and Algeria.
I have President to present a letter, a personal letter from the President of Algeria to the President of South Sudan. And we are happy that she was sent here with the message clear on the bilateral relation between the two countries. They are sent as a team from African Union. They are the one who oversee the implementation of peace agreement in South Sudan. And we are seeking support from our brothers in African countries to support the implementation of peace agreement in South Sudan.
To whom I handed over a written letter from his brother, the President of Algeria, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune. We had the opportunity to review and to discuss bilateral cooperation and to explore ways and means to strengthen our bilateral ties between South Sudan and Algeria, including on strategic areas where we have a huge potential of collaboration, such as agriculture, food security, infrastructure, education, and other connected areas. Of course, it was the opportunity for me to express Algeria's unwavering support to the ongoing effort by the government of South Sudan to ensuring lasting peace and security. This is also expressed in the framework of the African Union C5.
And Governance Cluster chaired by First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar Teny discussed submission of the operationalizing the laws for establishing of truth, reconciliation and healing, commissioned of the laws and establishment of compensation and reparation authority presented by Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Robin Madol Arol. Speaking to Ssbc after the meeting, Dr. Martin Elialomoro says the cluster also discussed the submission on the process of ABA Ngok Community 2011 referendum results.
First, we have a submission to operationalize the law for the establishment of the Commission of Truth, Reconciliation and Healing, and also for the operationalization of the law establishing the Compensation and Reparation Authority. These two institutions are very important institutions in the context of the implementation of the agreement and resolution of conflict in the Republic of South Sudan, and in particular that it is institutions that are to establish issues to do with the legacy of the conflict of 2013, 2016. And the minister submitted a bill on how to make them functional, and especially for the establishment of the Commission of Truth, Reconciliation and Healing, and the Compensation and Reparation Authority. We also discussed the submission on the process of a Ngok community referendum. Recall that on the 31st of October 2013, the BA Ngok Dinka held a referendum. The referendum was based on some legal documents, and the minister was required by the first vice president to provide a legal opinion as to whether the BAE referendum was legally conducted and based on legal documents, and advising the government of the Republic of South Sudan on what action it should take. This has been taken note of, and now we will be submitting it to the Council of Ministers.
Moving on, Gender and Youth Cluster discuss enhancing service delivery across the nation. The meeting, chaired by Vice President Rebecca Nyandeng de Mabior, discussed the extension of the transitional period and 2025 work plan. The Rebecca Nyandeng de Mabior encouraged and assured the ministers in the cluster to ensure service delivery reach people of South Sudan. Speaking to Ssbc, the Minister of Gender, Child and Social Welfare, Ayawarila Benjamin, briefed the media on the outcome of the meeting.
And also we had a recap on what we did during the roadmap, and also how we intend to move forward as a cluster in this period of extension.
As the country moves towards a trajectory of durable peace and stability, the stakeholders are brainstorming on a unique approaches and strategies for the parties to the agreement to reach consensus. In a fruitful engagement between the Senior Presidential Advisor Kwalmanyang Juk and a Special Representative of the UN Secretary General Nicholas Haysom, encourages parties to Tumaini to maintain the spirit of peace above their political affiliations and interests as they commence the second round of the talks this month. In the news briefing, Kwalmanyang Juk, also the head of government delegation to the Tumaini peace talks, emphasized plans to fast-track the peace talks and move the country to the path of peace and stability.
The representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations, South Sudan, Professor Haysom, has come to inquire about the state of affairs in the country, and especially on the issues of Tumaini. And I've briefed him that we're prepared to go on the 18th of the month to continue with the discussions on the issue of the implementation of the agreement, continue with the, especially phase 2 of the security arrangements, that the remaining part, which is part 2, will start sending the forces to the training centers so that they are trained, and then the army will have been unified. And so this is a briefing I have given him. Of course, we know that there is a big improvement in this.
Moving on, a training on development of bankable project commences in Juba. The training aims at providing skills to participants, drafting project proposals that will draw funding from the partners. In his opening remarks, the Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Peter Paimai, says the country has been affected by the climate change resulting from flooding, famine, adding that there is a need to find mitigation ways. The director of the project development at Save the Children, Ahmed, says the 5-day training would focus on strengthening the resilience and water sector. The facilitator of the training, Dr. Victor Kongo, says the world is facing numerous challenges due to climate change.
Need to question how the problem of unity state, the problem of water that has been there for years can be addressed. We ask ourselves a question: is this water going to stay? If it's going to stay, what needs to be done? And if this water goes away in anticipation of drought, what also need to be done? In this discussion, we have not come with formidable solution as to what need to be done, but we have recognized the need to keep this engagement and conversation with the government senior official, with development partners and donor community, so that we can try to find a solution.
It's important for us to always work hand in hand with the relevant line ministries when there are issues that we are engaged in. And we've had a very, very good discussion seeing how NPA can use our influence to assist the agenda that the minister has to try and find solutions to both the flooding but also to using irrigation in agriculture.
Samaritan Purse, an international organization, Christian relief organization rather, promised humanitarian assistance and support to the vulnerable populations in South Sudan. The organization's Director General Duff Philip stated this following a meeting with the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Albino Attack, in Juba, where they also explore possible ways of rendering services to people of South Sudan. The director in the Ministry of James says the meeting also highlighted cooperation between ministry and Samaritan Purse organization in delivering much needed humanitarian services to the population.
The government are continuing implementing the action plan for humanitarian food. The teams ensure the minister that we still continue with the project, and we need to save the life of the people who are hungry. The team with the ministry want to ensure the government of South Sudan we are actually continuing, and the project is also saving the life of the people who are hungry.
Discussing how Samaritan's Purse and the government of South Sudan are working together to serve people, to provide help to those who are suffering here in South Sudan because of the floods in Unity State and Upper Nile, and also the work that we're doing to provide food to those who are hungry. The partnership that we have with the people of South Sudan goes back many years. And at Samaritan's Purse, we want people to know that God loves them, and even if their home has been affected or their life has been affected, they're not forgotten by God. And so we want to continue to do all.
Moving on, government has summoned the Sudanese ambassador to South Sudan, Issam Muhammad Hassan, to clarify on the incident in Al-Jazeera and Wait Medani, where Sudanese armed forces accused of killing South Sudanese citizens. In a press statement in Juba, the ambassador is Issam Muhammad stated that his government has formed a committee to investigate on the alleged atrocities. The Undersecretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, John Samuel, appealed to South Sudanese to become and give Sudanese authorities time to investigate the incident.
لجان تحقيق للتعقيب والتغصي في هذه الجرائم والغبط على من تسبب وارتكب هذه الجرائم في حق الإخوة بجنوب السودان أو حتى في السودانيين بصورة عامة. أنه الجميع يعلم أن هذه الحرب فيها كثير من الجنسيات مشاركة في هذه الحرب داخل السودان. بدأت هذه اللجان أعمالها منذ البارحة، ووعدت أنا السيد السكرتير سفير جون صمويل إنه أفيده وأضعه في الصورة بكل التحقيقات، وسوف نسهل أيضا عبر وزارة الخارجية لسفير دولة جنوب السودان في بورسودان للوصول إلى واد مدني والوقوف بنفسه على أحوال أخبارنا وأهلنا في جنوب السودان الموجودين في ولاية الجزيرة.
We appeal that the people of South Sudan that let us be calm. We give the authorities in Sudan to investigate thoroughly what has happened in not only with Medina but in all the other areas that have been liberated by the army, because this is the government and they are protecting any citizen in the areas they are. Not only the Sudanese, but then other people. And then we have the right to question, to talk about
the chairperson of National Election Commission, Professor Abdenigo Akok Kachwal, announces the appointment of Gabriel Boldeng as the chairperson, as the Commission's Secretary General, with effect from 15th of January 2025. Professor Akok also briefed Ssbc on which discussed electoral legal framework and voters' education across the country.
The post of Secretary General has been filled by the selected and recommended person, called Gabriel Boldeng, as the Secretary General of the Election Commission, beginning with the legal framework, the manpower building, the electoral timeline, which is both open and closed, observers, boundary delimitation, voter education, electoral calendar, nomination, campaign, polling, settlement of disputes. All these were discussed by the Commission, and we discovered that that is a very good document. We are going to update it, make some minor corrections, then that will be the base of the this year program. That is the
Governor of Central Equatorial State, Agustino Jadalawani, calls on Mundari community to embark on agriculture to fight hunger. This and more after this short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that short break. If you've just joined us, we're coming to you live from Juba. Governor Agustino Jadalawani of Central Equatorial State calls on Mundari community to embark on agriculture to mitigate food insecurity and reduce poverty. Addressing a public rally in Terekea County of Central Equatorial State, Governor Agustino expresses his steadfast commitment in delivering services to the people. More in the following story by our reporter Peter Maureen.
The rally was organized under the theme, "Staffs our goal to set you up for services, integrity and discipline." Addressing the gathering, Governor Agustino Jadala says his mission to the county is to acquaint with the status of service delivery and challenges facing the people in the area. He pointed out that maintaining security in the county is a collective responsibility of every citizen.
Mission tayalna jahina da asanaje na shuf unaje nasma ajada alto kalimini hasa de kullu mashakil alto kalimini de kullu ana jaya na shufu mayani unaje nasma maadana bidati asan zoltani ma yaji gulle wa yakdible wa ajab shakil da bikun haja ana shuftu برضو ده نجي نشوف هل فعلا في استقرار هنا ولا في مشاكل فيه هنا. حاجة تاني جاء بتاعيني عشان نجي نشوف كلام بتاع تحديات. أصلا ناس ما جبال تحديات كثرة في كلام بتاع الخدمات. أنا بشوف إنه security ده الأمن ده مسؤولية بتاعنا نحن جميع. ده مسؤولية بتاع governor ولا مسؤولية بتاع commissioner ولا مسؤولية بتاع ده مسؤوليتنا نحن.
The Commissioner of Terekea County, George Wani Elia, highlights challenges facing the people in the county and appeals to Governor Jadala to unite the people of Central Equatorial State.
عندنا مشكلة كبيرة اللي هو مشكلة بتاع موية. مويه بتاع شراب بكون ما في مويه بتاع غسيل بكون ما في والمويه ده او هي مويه كان ما في معناه الانسان ما بقدر بيعيش. اثنين شارع موضوع بتاع سكه. النقطه الثالث ان هنا عندنا مدارس بنو لكن مدارس محتاج لصيانه ومشكله الكبير نحن ما عندنا معلمين. سنترال إكواتوريا بقى خفيف في النظر بتاع الناس. ليه؟ لأنه ما في وحدة بين أبناء بتاع سنترال إكواتوريا. فنحن دايرين كلنا نشتغل مع بعض تحت قيادة بتاع سيد الحاكم عشان كيف نقدر نوحد عيال بتاع سنترال إكواتوريا.
A representative of the youth, Marco Majak, appeals for establishment of vocational training center in the county.
برضو عندنا مشكلة يا شباب اللي ينتقلوا في السيادة السودانية ما عندهم قدرة عشان يمشي في جوبا أو عشان يقدر يمشي يقرأ في الجامعات الموجودين هناك. فأنا مطلوبين إنه عشان نقدر لنا كل معهد بجد كلية التربية حتى إذا كان دبلومات أنا ما أقدر نعاي بو إياد بتاعنا دين أنا كان ما كده شباب.
Other speakers at the event also appeal for basic service delivery to the people of Terekea County. Peter Mori-James, Ssbc, Terekea.
Thank you, Peter Mori-James, for that report. Moving on, turning our attention to humanitarian situation in Maban County of Upper Nile State, where over 100,000 people are facing an acute crisis as they struggle to access shelter and food amidst continued struggle to access food and due to the conflict in Sudan. This follows a relief situation assessment conducted by a delegation from South Sudan Refugees Affairs Commission led by Deputy Commissioner John Dabi at Doro Camp in Maban County. Addressing the media, Deputy Commissioner Dabi underscores the significances of the ongoing joint effort between the government and humanitarian partners to enhance medical and educational services in the area. Owner Stephen Matthew, the Assistant Commissioner for Refugees Affairs in Maban County, highlighted that Doro Camp serves as a critical transit point for many refugees.
بتاعت هيلث صحة هيكون موجود وزول عيان يمشي في المستشفى يعالجوه ده كله بنتكلم مع منظمات عشان يقدر يدوكم دعم شوية تلقى ده اديه هنا لحد ما المشاكل تتم لحد ما انتوا تلقى أوضاع تتحسن لحد ما تلقى دخل يالده في المدارس البسيط انتوا قلتها اشكر الله واصبروا لحد ما بعدين أوضاع تتصلح.
A huge number of them have just arrived and we are actually here to support, to give them word of courage. This camp is one of the biggest camps and it is hosting.
Moving on, South Sudan Relief and Rehabilitation Commission has distributed humanitarian assistance to displaced persons and returnees at Mangatane Camp in Juba. The initiative is part of the government's response as the population continue to face critical humanitarian challenges in the country due to climate change and other challenges across the country. The initiative is part of government's response as the population continue to face critical humanitarian challenges due to impact of ongoing conflict in Sudan. The chairperson of Mangatane Camp, James Dengbol, appreciated the government and partners for the support.
للإدارة بتاعت الشؤون الإنسانية ورئيس بتاع الRRC أنا بشكرهم شديد بالبسيط اللي نحن لقيناه هسه. طبعا ده حاجة يا بسيط خالص. طبعا التعيين حتى لو سكر طبعا ده بلدنا نحن بنشيله زي ده لأنه عارفين إنه أنت بتاخد حاجة سكر الليلة وبكرة أنت هتلقى حاجة كبيرة أكتر من ده. بنصبر فوقه. ده أول ممكن
نوصل حاجة بسيط ده للشعب الجنوب التبان ده نوصل لهم سالوا دول ليجو كوبايا ده حتى تو الجابوه هناك هنا ده نوري ده تاعنا جماعة وزير معكم ومفوض تارسي معكم البسيط اللي ليجو ده قال سيل تاعكم ولا بيبارك تاعكم فيه inarfin to tabadin.
A team from Central Equatoria State Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Agriculture assessed the progress of work at Juba Modern Mall. The project is being financed by African Development Bank and implemented by UN Food and Agriculture Organization, aimed at reinforcing agricultural production and boost marketing agricultural product across the country. Our reporter has more on the following story.
Authorities in Central Equatoria State Chamber of Commerce and Juba City Council are raising dust on the application of $6 million United States dollars supposedly allocated for Juba Modern Mall. The administration of Juba City Council denies dispensing Bendes compensation, but $5.5 billion United States dollars earmarked for the mall project. Speaking to the media, Rubet Pitia Francis, chairperson of the State Chamber of Commerce, explains the mission to the project site.
Number one, we ask for a letter of commitment from FAO and Juba City Council that after the completion of this project, this place will be handed back to the people who are doing business here. This is one. Two, we also ask Juba City Council to also give us a letter of commitment that after the project is finished, the project will be handed back to what? To these women and youth.
Kurinyok, Secretary General of the National Chamber of Commerce, raises concerns over cost of $4 billion United States dollars for constructing Juba Modern Mall with G+3 and unfortunately changing to $6 billion United States dollars for the mall with G+1 and a basement.
بيقول البروجكت ده G+3 plus basement. الباسمنت التهدى ده باركينج بيشيل 200 عربية. لكن بعد ما وصلنا هنا ده لقينا ستيتمنت مختلف.
Christina Ruben Kose, vegetable seller and representative of 168 petty traders, claims $200 United States dollars compensation for each member in the group to resettle their businesses. She says the mall project has taken up their places, leaving them with no location and shelter to transact business.
Muru haganna felan asar ma wahdin asa wahdin biga mafishin biga mafi biga bishiru hajat يعني تلقى الدفع سكر اللي لسه بلد أكيد أنا بقى ما جنلدي لكن اللي لسه قاعدين بلد ده تلقى زول حامل يا حايم بحاجات فيتو ده من زوزو تناس الكم في جواسو هنا يا حايم بحاجات فيتو براس لأنه ما في حاجة الجو دولو جروز اللي ما تكلموا قال بودي لأن أنا طالعنا فرحانين فوق ده ما جودي.
Michael Lado Alejabu, former mayor of Juba City Council, says initially the African Development Bank, PAO, and Juba City Council crystallized Juba Mall project, a corporate agreement estimated to cost $4 billion United States dollars with G+3 without basement. Lado Alejabu dismisses allegation of paying compensation to 168 vendors. He says he was relieved from office before the project got off the ground.
So within 2 weeks, I was removed from the office as the mayor. So I don't know later if this money, the compensation, if it was released, it was given to these vendors who are affected from the market or not. This is what I don't know. But in fact, the first initiative was started by myself, and even the start of the construction started immediately after my removal.
Michael Francis, director Juba Block, says no money changed hands between PAO and Juba City Council on Juba Modern Mall project deal for compensating 168 vendors.
In regard to the $6 billion, that is still a good news. Maybe we got it in a good faith. We will also follow up. But we only heard of 5.5 billion, in which we even summoned the country director here to Juba City Council to explain to us, in accordance to the Local Government Act, these donor agencies it is supposed to be the responsibility of the city council to make bidding, but the bidding was made by power. It was the responsibility, it was supposed to be the responsibility of Juba City Council to know exactly how much money has been released for this project. And with the participation of Juba City Council, they would have been involved in any release of this money.
The further investigation is still on the way. For Chamber of Commerce, Juba City Council, PAO, and African Development Bank for a right, accurate information about this mall. Reporting for...
And Juba City Legislative Council passes a 14-chapter bylaws with some amendment for the year 2025. Speaking to Ssbc, Diana K.G. John, chairperson of Juba City Council Legislative, identified lack of financial resources as the major challenges affecting the work of the council.
We are here today to continue and deliberate and to pass the Juba City Council bylaws for the third time in a third session. And these bylaws, it is an important tool for a revenue collection to the institution of Juba City Council, and also as a guidance law to the leadership of this August House as oversee. This law can guide you when you are going down underground for oversight the executive. This law can help a lot. And also this law, we find some things that we fix it at our level as an honorable councillors for the well-being of our citizens underground there.
Today is amending the bylaws of Juba City Council, and we today pass the amendment of Juba City Council bylaws 2025. These bylaws is to regulate our citizens within Juba City Council, the behaviors of our citizens of Juba City Council, and a lot of regulations that to guide our citizens within Juba City Council, even the tankers, the traders, even the behavior of the citizens within the areas. This bylaw is to guide them.
There are so many chapters I have mentioned, around 14 chapters that we have passed. Each of everyone is having his own definition and penalties upon it. As I have said, upon punishing the criminals. In fact, there are so many criminal chapters that we have passed there. Number one, we have some other criminal practices that are happening within the city, like witchcraft practices. These are practices that are harmful to our families, to human life as well, because very many of them are aunties to our families. They are doing bad practices.
And that finally brings us to the end of our news bulletin. On behalf of the entire working crew in the studio, I am Gore Anthony saying bye-bye. Keep tuned to Ssbc for the rest of our programs.